What's up, everybody? Matt LaMarche here with the Keller Williams First Atlanta office and selling Sandy Springs on the podcast. Today I am super excited. We're both doing audio and video here, so no matter how you're consuming this, super excited to have Trey. I can't just have Trey on the podcast. We got to get visual with Trey as well because we've got your event coming up.
Yes, we do.
You're a big personality. We can't just talk about it. We need to see it.
Love it. Let's do it at the highest level, sir.
So anyway, really appreciate you taking some time though today. Definitely want to talk more about the event, but Absolutely. I really just want to dive straight into it. Your background, kind of the three pillars: your past, your present, your future. What's coming up for you? What's next on the horizon? But give us your comic book story. Where did you come from? What did you do before real estate? For those of you that don't know who Trey is, you've been living under a rock somewhere on social media because this is one of the biggest personalities in Atlanta real estate that I have found, and it's what I love about you.
Receive honestly.
That, sir. Anyway, give us a little background on where you kind of came from and what you did before.
So I am an Atlanta native. I love Atlanta. I'm 36 years old. I've now been in real estate for 7 years. I'm originally from the east side of Athens, Georgia. Nice. Go Dogs. And I was born and raised in Athens. I moved to Atlanta when I was 15 and went to high school here in Sandy Springs at North Springs.
Nice.
I was a really good football player in my younger, slimmer days. And I ended up going to play football at University of Maryland, where I also got a bachelor's degree in criminal justice.
Nice.
From there, I was always in sales. I was selling copiers immediately out of college. And then from there, I transitioned into real estate. And in my 20s, I really never made enough money in the daytime. So I was always waiting tables at high-end restaurants at night. And I was literally about 30 years old before I could only survive off of a day job.
I get it. When you were younger, did you have people telling you, like they were telling me, you need to be in sales, you should be, sales is your destiny, basically?
Not really.
No? That surprises me.
Graduated. Well, I always had like a sales personality, but I actually graduated in 2007 when the market was terrible.
Makes sense.
There were no jobs except sales jobs, and I was already used to waiting tables when I was in college.
Gotcha.
So it was a natural progression for me to go into sales, but also I was forced into sales because no one was hiring but sales jobs when I graduated from college.
Makes sense. Well, tell us a little bit about you now, your business. I mean, you've been in it now for long enough to know what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Obviously, we're never stopping the learning process, but and again, we'll talk more about the event and how you've kind of transitioned from lifelong learner, but also now lifelong professor and teacher as well.
Absolutely.
So tell us more about your business now, kind of where you are, where most of your business comes from, really kind of your secrets to your success thus far.
So right now, I'm an individual real estate agent. I'm supported by three virtual assistants and a graphic designer because I love marketing and branding.
Yeah.
But I'm an individual agent. My goal this year is to sell 44 homes and $12 million worth of real estate. And to put that in perspective, the average agent sells about $1.5 million and 6 homes. So I do about 4 or 5 times as much as a normal real estate agent. And I do most of that as an individual agent. I'm the only salesperson within my organization.
Sure.
As it relates to where my business comes from, 3 sources of business. One is my database of about 300 people, which is friends, family, and past clients. Number 2 is my farm. And really, I guess the third is extremely referral based, but that's not really another source because most of the referrals come out of my database or from my farm. And my farm is 700 homes.
Gotcha. Very good.
Yep.
Very good. So tell us a little more about what the future holds for your business. What's your grand plan? What's your grand vision for ultimately, say, 5, 10, 15 years from now? Where do you see this thing kind of going?
I wish I had a fantastic answer for you. You know, and I'm a huge football fan. I played football in college. I love Nick Saban's quote, don't have a 4-year plan, have a 40-year plan.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I'm always working to think bigger about what I truly desire in the next 5, 10, 20, 40 years. What I know right now is my 40-year plan is to ultimately be known as a good businessman of integrity who ran an organization for a very long time at a very high level with a lot of integrity. And I basically want my family to be known for the same thing. A very stable, Atlanta-based family, Southern business, Southern family. I have a lot of Southern pride because I went to school up north and I saw people speak negative of the South on such a regular basis. So I've always kind of represented the entire South in my mind. I'm really a Southern gentleman in that way. So I'd like over 40 years for my business and my family to be known as a strong, stable family business.
Nice.
As it relates to the next 5 years, I'm very focused right now on leverage and building my real estate organization through other people. I've grown about as big as I can grow right now without having other people work in my organization. And right now I have other people working in my organization on administrative tasks, but I intend to get more sales related tasks. Right now we'll do 12 million this year. My goal over the next 5 years is to go up to $100 million in real estate. And for me to do that, my team would need to really be about 10 to 15 real estate professionals.
Well, and what that tells me is, number one, you're able to delegate. You know, what's not the most valuable task for you as a salesperson. Right. But number two, it also tells me that you know what you can handle and what you cannot, right? And
Absolutely.
In order to scale, in order to get to that next level, you have to let it go at some point.
So true. It is, and you know, it's so true, and yet you know it in theory, but knowing it in theory and doing it in reality is not the same, because every client is like, oh my God, this is the best client I've had. Oh my God, this is so and so and so and so. So I think, you know, at the end of the day, people are loyal to the standards that you represent. And with us being successful real estate professionals, we have to become good at documenting our systems and our standards of excellence so they can be delegated, and those same standards of excellence can be implemented and or demonstrated and or used on our clients by other people.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I really respect about you, and I don't think I've said this to you yet, so hopefully this is good to hear. You know, I talked earlier about your social media presence on all platforms, and what the one word that kind of comes to my mind is consistency, and over and over and over and over again. And it's not the same content every time. It's something a little bit different, but I feel like I get a little more, like another piece to the puzzle, you know?
Absolutely.
But as a client, right, as a potential client looking in, you're probably thinking, man, if he's this good at social media, producing content, putting it out there, this house sold, that house sold, he helped that buyer. I mean, to me, that consistency is what people want to see.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So talk a little more about your social media game. I mean, obviously you understand hashtags, you understand the value.
Hashtag Atlanta's best realtor.
We'll be sure to throw it in the show notes. But I mean, you understand the dynamics,
right?
Because it's always changing. I mean, I hear realtors and people on Instagram talking about the algorithm and how things are changing, and it's like, look, there is no target. It's just consistency. It's just trying it over and over and over again, and find what works for you, and find. To me, authenticity really plays on Instagram, because, you know, whether you follow my Instagram stories or my posts, I feel like I give you a piece of me every time.
Absolutely.
You know?
Very important.
And I think people really underestimate the connection there, because, you know, I'm the same person. You can't talk on this microphone or on that video for more than about an hour and just go, I can't keep this act up. Like, it's got to be me at some point. You know what I mean? Like
that, and man, it's so awesome that you bring that up, because the number one thing that I've said to graphic designers and everyone who does any form of marketing or branding is it has to be authentic. It has to be authentic. It has to be authentic. I mean, I feel like a broken record sometimes because that's kind of like the main thing that I say. It has to be authentic. And whether it's this podcast, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, I just always feel like it has to be authentic for me.
100%. Well, and people will smoke it out.
Right.
Like, they'll figure out whether or not you're real or not. If Trey Cooper isn't the same guy on Instagram that he is in real person, who do I get the next time I see him? You know what I mean? So
in the spirit of answering your question about my approach to social media, I've always been an early adopter of social media. My first mentor, Merrill Johnson, shout out to Merrill Johnson, huge agent out of the Camp Creek City side. I mean, not Camp Creek, Keller Williams City side office now. He told me, like, my first week in real estate, you got to get over that. You got to be on social media. From there, I learned the acronym FROG, which is Family, Recreation, Occupation, and Goals. So I believe that people get bored if you only share one side of you. So I like to have a mix of family, recreation, occupation, and goals. And in addition to having that mix, I like to flow with the spirit of the times. Such as on Monday morning, that's a great time for a very business post.
For sure.
Saturday afternoon, no one really wants to hear a real serious business post. So I really try to flow. Fridays, people like motivation. So I really try to flow with the spirit of the time. I also think consistency is really, really good. So most of the time I do post in the mornings, and the reason I do post in the mornings is because I feel that morning affirmations are really huge for business people, and whatever you see and read in the morning is what really kind of gets into your subconscious. And so I've always focused on doing my social media posts extremely early, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. So when people wake up, most people get on Facebook and Instagram within 15 minutes of waking up. I want them to see me first.
Absolutely.
And if they see that over the course of weeks and months and years, it really kind of gets into their subconscious that I'm their person, I'm their friend, I'm their realtor.
I could not agree more. And to me, it's one of those things that, again, the consistency is in everything, right? Like in the business, in social media, and who you are as a realtor. I mean, it's who you are as a father, right? Like, you can't hide.
Correct.
And obviously we're always trying to stay top of mind, whether you're listening to a podcast or you're watching a video.
Absolutely.
I mean, it doesn't matter how you consume it. And that's why we're doing so many different things.
Absolutely.
Because I know not everyone has time to watch a video.
Right.
But you got time in your car, you're listening to a podcast, you come across this one and you're like, now I know Trey, I've met him virtually, I'm going to call him, I'm going to do a transaction with him. And as I shared with you yesterday, I'm not romantic about how it goes down. I just want it to go down.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I really want there to be your time of 20 minutes here today for someone to reach out and go, man, I really like what you said. I like your approach to business, and I want to use you. And honestly, like, a lot of people aren't going to believe me when I say this. If you go use Trey as a result of this podcast, you're not gonna make me upset. Like,
right.
I never had you. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So I'm good with it. And that's honestly like how I feel about business. If you like me and you trust me and you use me, fantastic.
Right.
But if I introduce you to someone else that's gonna better fit your needs or that's gonna connect with you or whatever it might be, fantastic. I want Trey to come back and say thank you. Like,
absolutely.
That's good enough for me.
And at the end, we work together.
Yeah.
What I can't tell you how much I respect your approach in that way, because I haven't had a podcast, and yet one of the things I've done really well on social media is consistently interview other people who are really sharp at their craft, really big in real estate, or really interesting in some way. And I tend to like people that are very different than me, so that people are getting a perspective very different from mine.
100%.
So I have always sought after the most successful, biggest people that I could find to be on my social media platforms. So I really respect that you are you're selflessly bringing in the best people for your audience.
Well, I appreciate that.
I respect that at a very high level.
Well, let's talk about the event.
Yes.
I attended this event a little over a month ago up in Alpharetta. Fantastic.
Yes.
I mean, I took away a lot. In fact, I think I called you later that day and said, I just scored a listing because of one of the techniques that you talked about, which...
Is that the huge listing
the
that you
huge
have? Oh my God! Love it!
So, I mean, it's no joke for me. Like, it really actually, I mean, and it was just one thing because, you know, I never think I'm done.
Right.
You know, I never think I'm finished with this thing, and I think I've got a lot to learn. I mean, having only been in this business for 10 months, there's still so much to learn. But at the same time, you kind of know your core principles.
Yes.
The integrity you talked about earlier, right? You know what makes you tick and what others are attracted to.
Correct.
But at the same time, there's always a nuance. There's always something to learn. And there was a big piece for me that I took away from that. So talk a little bit about the event this Friday, how it goes, what people can expect, what do they need to do to sign up? I mean, what can they... Give us the Reader's Digest version, if you will.
Absolutely. 10 listings in 40 days is a real estate workshop for real estate agents to learn how to list property and sell real estate at a very high level. So this class teaches real estate agents how to list property at a very high level. Real estate agents help people buy houses, and then they help homeowners sell homes they already have. So this class is focused on helping homeowners sell homes they already have and do it at a very high level and very efficiently. Think like a top producer. And if you notice right there on the flyer, be a listing agent, do what listing agents do, and you'll have what they have. This is a class that I've now been teaching for the last 2 years. I've taught it to over 1,000 real estate agents at over 10 locations, probably close to 15 locations now. And you know, because the class is done so well, people start to see me and think of me as a teacher, and I'm actually not a teacher. I am a selling, producing real estate agent. I'm extremely committed to business development and business coaching. And when you commit to business coaching at the highest level, you have to teach whatever you're doing well. Absolutely. And so I have been very fortunate to list property at a very high level. So it's like paying it forward and giving back for me to teach my class. My goal is to teach that class once a quarter. But it's been in high demand, so I've been teaching it like once a month. And you know, and that's fantastic.
Absolutely.
Champagne problems.
Right.
Because it really is adding value to a lot of other real estate agents, and that is adding value to a lot of Atlanta homeowners. And you know, when I sit here and hear that someone got a $2 million listing because they came to my class, I mean, it makes me feel like I'm living right, adding value,
100%.
Being a good person.
100%. Well, and I love, you can't change this part. At the end, I had to leave a little bit early as you were wrapping up the Q&A. But the one thing that has to remain, if everything else changed, as long as this was there, it would still be super valuable. To hear everyone's takeaway, I think was huge, because even the only 2 or 3 that I heard before I had to walk out, to me that was really valuable, because Absolutely. It was like, he did say that. Yeah. You know, and it refreshed me on it, but also it reminded me as I was walking out the door, and I'm like, that's powerful. Right. Because it was like a quick review.
Absolutely.
You know, and to get someone's perspective that I didn't share, I thought was really, really valuable. So if you guys...
And the most humbling thing, that, you know, like teaching, you have to really be selfless to do it at a high level.
Oh, for sure.
And one of the most humbling things that I've learned about teaching is that people learn just as much from the takeaways that come out of the audience as they do from the content that I stand up there and share. And because I have understood that to be true, throughout the class, every 20 or 30 minutes, I ask for 2 or 3 takeaways. I also feel like it gives the class energy, so that it's not like me standing up there for 2 hours barking at people.
For sure.
Yeah. So I'm super happy to hear you love the takeaways.
It was fantastic. If you're an agent in the Atlanta area and you haven't been to this event before, I think it's one of those that we're all pressed for time, right? We're always thinking about our time. Our time is our most valuable asset, no doubt about it. But at the same time, when you reinvest in yourself and when you reinvest into your knowledge and your skill set, I mean, especially for me, like going into a listing appointment an hour and a half after I left that class was really powerful. And so if you're going into the weekend and you've got some meetings with clients coming up or listing appointments that you're about to go on, you have to be there. I
Yes,
mean,
yes.
down in Peachtree City this Friday, the 18th, from 10 to 12:30. That 2.5 hours, I promise you, if you don't get the value, I mean,
And
come
just
see me.
to kind of back up, the title of the class is 10 Listings in 40 Days. It's a free class. You don't even have to RSVP. It's typically at a different Keller Williams office every single time I teach, but people from all over the city are welcome to attend. All companies and salespeople that are not real estate agents are welcome to attend. I start off the class by doing my listing presentation in front of the whole room so people can see what an appointment looks like. What I was realizing from teaching before is that I kept telling people to go on appointments. Most people didn't truly have clarity on what an appointment looked like. So I started doing my appointment in front of everyone to get started. And then I go over the 10 principles to do business at that level. And then I answer questions at the end. And we share takeaways.
Yeah.
And that's the class.
No, I love the structure. I love the whole thing. I mean, again, 2.5 hours sounds like a long time, but man, it flew right by. And so, but again, for me, going into a listing appointment, but a couple minutes later, was wildly awesome for me, because I mean, it was so fresh.
Right, yeah.
So I really got to apply a lot of the techniques and principles that you talked about, and the role playing for me in particular was really powerful, because everyone's a little bit different.
Right.
And if you put out a script, that's not my script, but when I get to see someone else sit down in the chair and talk through the listing appointment as you did, I get to hear objections I've never heard before.
Right.
People are making stuff up just to throw you off your game, and it's like, no, same game. Like, bring it back to the middle. So,
absolutely.
Anyway, I really appreciate your time today. Go ahead and give us all the socials so we can link it below here, but also we'll tag you on the video and get your Instagram, your Facebook, everything, your business page all there as well. And if anyone wants to reach out, maybe through a phone call, email, go ahead and put that out for everyone.
So on Instagram, you can follow me at Trey Cooper Atlanta, and that's TreyCooper Atlanta. At Trey Cooper Atlanta is on Instagram. On Facebook, it's just Trey Cooper. My business page on Facebook is Trey Cooper Real Estate. Really active on LinkedIn at Trey Cooper. We have YouTube videos also, and my channel is Trey Cooper Real Estate. It's either Trey Cooper or Trey Cooper Real Estate. I really can't remember. But those are the best ways to reach me. And here at Keller Williams, my contact phone number is 404-273-0435. And I am so fortunate to office right beside Matt LaMarche on a day-to-day basis and see all these fantastic suits that you wear in here. What? You have to let me share this story. So lately, over the summer, I got lazy. I was wearing shorts and polos every day, almost. It was 100 degrees.
Yeah.
And Matt showed up one day looking amazing, like a stockbroker, like just amazing. And literally since that day, I've been in a suit and tie every single day. And so I really appreciate you making me step my game up, keeping me on it.
I tell you, if I'm ever having a down day or a bad day, all I got to do is get dressed up, come into the office, and I'm guaranteed to get at least one compliment, but probably a book of them behind from you. And I just really appreciate your friendship. I appreciate the support last week for the caravan.
Absolutely.
For me, getting into this business, I thought there was a lot of competition. You know what I mean? Like, there's a ton of real estate agents in Atlanta, and I saw everyone as competition.
Right.
Man, within about 3 months, I was like, I'm not competing against you. I'm not competing against the 545 other agents in the
Absolutely
I'm
not.
competing against myself, and I'm competing against clients and trying to get business in the door, So I really just appreciate your time, appreciate your friendship, appreciate your willingness to do this. And again, I hope someone calls you and says, hey man, heard you on the podcast, love what you said, I want to work with you.
Absolutely.
Honestly, that would be like one of the biggest compliments I could get to having you on here.
Absolutely.
And I'm like you, of the abundance mindset that there is plenty of business for all of us out there. You want to get to 100 million, I want to help be a part of that. So,
and in the spirit of this being a Sandy Springs podcast, I love Sandy Springs. I'm a Sandy Springs. I went to high school in Sandy Springs. Our office is in Sandy Springs.
That's right.
So I'm really a Sandy Springs guy within Atlanta. And should we work with anyone, perhaps we can partner.
100%. 100%, no doubt about it. Very good. Well, thank you guys so much for taking a listen today. Hope you enjoyed that episode. Again, if you're on Instagram at @mlamarche, or at Selling Sandy Springs. Also on Facebook, Matt LaMarche. You can follow Selling Sandy Springs with Matt LaMarche on Facebook as well. Thank you guys so much. We've got a ton of new content coming your way. We've been, we've got 3 or 4 that we've already taped, and it's Tuesday. So we've got a ton of episodes coming up for the rest of October, November, and December. A ton of new businesses moving to the Sandy Springs area. So please, please, please feel free to watch, like, subscribe, share, all of it. We really, really appreciate it, and hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Thanks so much.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.